and welcome to episode 2 dose of the Box Quote Podcast, your party
pop culture
podcast. Thank you. Yes. My name is Thomas, and I'm joined today by my two best buds, Mr. Matt.
Hello.
And Mr. Chris.
Last but not least.
Yes. So today we've got some fun stuff prepared for you. We're going to have a little debate about something, I don't know, Chris hasn't told us yet. And this is our Game of the Year episode. So we're going to go over...
The inaugural Quoties.
Yes, the Quoties. So we're going to go over some of our most anticipated games of 2023 that everyone can look out for. And then after that, last but not least, we're going to do the Quoties, which is our games of the year. I say games because we're going to do some individual areas of what we each picked individually. And then at the very bottom, the only thing we don't have notes on in our show notes is what the Box Quote Podcast Game of the Year is, because we decide on the show, or at least that's how we've traditionally done it before. That's how we're going to keep doing it.
Don't break what is broken.
Of course.
If it ain't broke, that's the euphemism I was going for. If it ain't broke, don't bring it to water.
You can't bring a broken to water.
Yeah.
But with that said,
sometimes you got to drink the water and say, "When in Rome."
Don't look an early bird in the mouth.
This is someone said a thing at work the other day, and this has weighed heavily on my heart since. And by the way, this is Monday that we are recording. This thing was said Wednesday last week, and I came home and I asked Emily about it, and she was on the opposite end of what I was, and I didn't even know that was an option, and I'm finding out people feel very differently about this thing. Is fish meat?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
But
okay.
Yes, but I know like a lot of people that are vegetarians that will still eat fish, and they don't even call themselves pescatarians.
Right, and as the resident Catholic, I get the whole, but if you can't eat meat on Fridays, where are you eating a fish fillet? I get it, fine, but I don't know. I didn't make the rules.
Wait, what?
We can still eat fish on Fridays during Lent.
Right, but what is the? Wait, I don't understand where the argument is.
During Lent, Catholics aren't supposed to eat meat on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if fish is meat, I shouldn't be able to eat fish on Fridays.
Like it's straight up meat, right? I get.
But
yeah.
Well, I don't know why, but fish are given
because of the fish
pass.
The fish markets were I think legit. That's what it is. Is like the fish markets needed more money, and so they're like, everybody eats fish on Fridays now.
I know that there was. I think it was either that or it was particular villages where their only source of food was the coast. They didn't have like farmland or anything like that. And I know there's another one. I couldn't tell you the exact decree, but there's some village in like Canada or something that is allowed to eat beaver.
Yeah, I've heard of this. Yeah,
because it's like their only source of food. Yeah, so you get a pass.
Because Emily brought up the point that pescatarian wouldn't exist if it was meat, and my argument is it's the flesh of a thing that is alive.
Right.
That was true.
If I chew on my arm, that's meat. You know what I mean?
But so this is where I think the rubber meets the road. Is I know pescatarians that the reason that they are pescatarians is that their belief is they won't eat anything that they couldn't look in the eyes and kill. And fish don't really got those puppy dog eyes that make you want to cry.
They have those cold, unfeeling.
Yeah.
Also, that's they were hidden away. They're, it wasn't like God made them and went, oh yeah, let's show these to everybody. He was like, no, let's put it underneath all this water where they can't breathe, and they won't see it. It'll be fine.
Well, and so that's the thing is, what is meat measured by its intelligence? The intelligence of the animal.
Wait, okay. Here we go. Are bugs meat?
I was just gonna ask the same thing, and it must.
I would say yes.
Be. Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like that at all.
No.
Well, wait. We can tie this into the subject matter at hand. In Fallout 3, I'm pretty sure rad scorpions for rad scorpions and rad roaches make steaks.
This is true.
Just
and
giant
Mirelurks.
chunks.
Yeah, the giant crabs.
Well, no, Mirelurk that's seafood again. We're going.
There's ant meat as well.
Yeah.
You
I
can
mean,
buy,
what are
like,
crabs
you
if they're not just big underwater bugs?
This is also
That's
true.
what Jim Gaffigan said. Like people who like lobster, he's always like, he said, yeah, go eat your bug meat.
Yeah,
It's delicious bug meat.
Hermit crabs, and when they died, my dad was like, "I'm glad that you like those things, but they were just big cockroaches that we'd let live in the house." It was very only difference between that and like the things that we set traps for downstairs is that they stay in a glass cage.
Oh, and one has fun colored hats that you can swap
true.
out.
Yeah, I did.
And the other one's hermit crabs. Okay. Here's another one. Are Venus flytraps meat?
No,
No.
it's a plant.
They eat things.
They eat meat, but they themselves are not meat
Wait, so what's the why? Why isn't a Venus flytrap not meat?
because it's not alive.
Well, how
It's
do you
not alive
define
in the
that
same
something's
way.
Plants are
alive?
alive. Plants are alive, technically.
They grow.
It doesn't have a vascular system
So
or a nervous
so,
system.
So that's where we're drawing the line. Is
So really what we've decided here is that vegetarians still eat meat.
Well, because if you
Only
read really
carnivorous
flowery
plants.
language, they talk about berries and fruits, where they say the flesh of the fruit, and it's it's. I think it's an antiquated term, but it's still there.
when fruit are really just ovaries.
Yeah, when it
So
all
the-
boils down, everything's meat. Everything's meat. It's either a meat or a
Rocks.
rock.
When they fall off the tree, they're underies.
Oh God.
So does that mean that? So what is flesh then? If I bite my wall, is the wallpaper or the plaster the flesh of the house?
Well,
The
see, then there
wallpaper's
you
the
go.
skin.
Then it's no longer living. So it's only
but
it's
neither is
the
an
matter
apple
of
that's in
living
your-
things. An apple.
Neither is
was,
an apple.
Yes.
It was, but now it's in your fruit bowl. Is it living then?
Neither is
so
the,
is flesh.
So is the burger, man.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay, so what's the Box Quote podcast decree? Fish is meat.
Fish is meat.
Fish
I'm
eat-
saying bugs.
fish
I'm
equals
going
meat.
hard. Bugs are not meat.
Bugs are meat.
They don't have a-
no.
I'm going
Fallout,
bugs are meat.
Fallout said
Do
so.
bugs have a vascular system? They don't have
Yeah.
blood.
They got all that goop when you smush them.
That's just like hydraulic fluid, though.
What is blood if not hydraulic fluid?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like blood delivers oxygen to your cells. Like the hydraulic fluid is just pushing their little sticks out so that they can walk.
No. Bugs breathe, Tom. I don't know if you know
Yeah,
this.
there's like skin though. They don't have like blood delivering oxygen to their system, do they?
bugs
We're,
have blood.
we're
Insects-
so qualified to talk about this.
Insects have blood, but it's not like human blood. Human blood is used to carry oxygen throughout our bodies and is red because of the hemoglobin in it. And insects' blood is used to carry nutrients throughout their bodies, but not
Give
oxygen.
me a biology degree.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's from almanac.com, which is legally correct.
They can't lie on the internet.
Nope. All right, so box quote stance: fish is meat. Bug, probably meat. I feel like that's a
Probably
good
meat.
2/3. That's a good 2/3.
In a few more years, definitely meat.
That's why-
but
yeah,
right
that's
now,
what-
it's still probably.
That's why we can never have an odd number of hosts slash
even number of hosts. We currently
that's
have an
fine,
odd number. You get your degree in biology, but we have to take your math degree away now. Sorry.
That's fine. I don't use it that much, anyways. All right, time to talk about our most anticipated games of 2023. I really wish we had transition music still. That's going to happen at some point.
Listening back to the last episode, we should not try to do it ourselves again.
Yeah,
I still
that
like
was
my
funny.
little-
That was funny the first episode, but could you imagine when we get 30 episodes into the show and every single time we switch gears, somebody goes,
Yeah, it was definitely an episode one only kind of thing. Okay, so we've got a bunch of games. We're going to go through some of the ones that individually we're excited for first. And then slowly we're going to work our way up to the ones that I think everybody's excited for, or at least the three of us are excited for. So to kick it off, Chris, our Resident Evil fan, what are you looking forward to with the Resident Evil 4 remake?
yes.
Oh, all of it.
I am looking forward to all of it. Yes. So, a little background: Resident Evil 4 is like probably in my top 3 favorite games of all time. I've loved what they've done with the remakes so far, except for 3. Kinda, I had fun playing 3, but I also didn't play the original. So, But yeah, I'm just excited for. So Resident Evil 4. I don't. You guys didn't play it, right?
No,
I've
but I've
never played
read
all the way
about
through
it,
Resident Evil game.
and I've read about it for years. Game Informer holds it on a pedestal.
It is extremely camp, and there's parts that are scary, but then there's parts that are just a cartoon. And I'm excited for this one to kind of really lean into the scary stuff. And the other thing too is like at first when they said something like, yeah, we're going to change the story to match the tone a little more because we want to take it more of a dark, like straight up Resident Evil style horror game. And at first I was like, no, they're going to change the story. I want to play the exact same game that I have available to me at any time. And then like I kind of thought about it. I was like, no, let's do that. Like that'll be fun. It really feels like a new game now, you know? And the house, like that opening little house, it looks a lot bigger from the trailer. Yeah, I'm just pumped about it. Like it's without at the risk of me just rambling, I'm just excited. I'm a big Resident Evil fanboy. I've played all of them, the numbered ones.
And I know 4 is touted as one of the it's one of the grandfathers of third person shooters. I'm pretty sure.
It was a big risk for them to make 4, and it really paid off. It kind of changed the face of gaming, really. But I'm excited to come back to it. I'm always looking for a reason to come back to that game, and there's a big one coming up. So
sweet. All right. Next up, we've got Venba from Matt. What's got you excited about that guy?
Venba looks super cute. It's a little indie that is basically an immigrant Indian family who have immigrated to America, and a mom, a dad, and a little kid. And the mom is cooking meals for the kid to go take to school and stuff. The gameplay seems to be something of a Cooking Mama kind of simulation, a very light-hearted simulation of cooking. But at the same time, it seems pretty story heavy and very trying to embody the feeling of people from the Indian diaspora. And it has a lot of things where the mom is trying to recreate these dishes, but the instructions are kind of half complete, or something was spilled on them, or the page got torn, and so she has to kind of guess what some ingredients might be, or take a couple of the steps out of order. It looks cute. I've been following its development for quite some time, and I'm just kind of rooting for it. And I think it'll be on Switch, which seems like a good spot for it.
Yeah, there's like a few games that I'm on here that I'm like, I don't know if how many of these are coming out on Switch, or there's a few that it's like, if I can't do this one handheld, I don't know if I bought it. All right, rolling through it. I've got Hollow Knight Silksong. Huge fan of the first Hollow Knight game. Is it coming to Game Pass?
It's supposed to be, and my name would be next to that one as well, but color me doubtful that it's coming out this year.
Yeah, that's true. Like it's been pushed back so many times.
That would be heartbreaking.
We should have put out, or we should have written down release dates for this, because I can't remember if this was one where it said first half. So I think there's like a good, unless they put holiday 23, I think there's a good chance that this one comes out this year. But I think it's also supposed to come out on Game Pass, and even then, I think this is kind of what I was just alluding to. Was first off, I just want a physical copy of the game, and then also I played the original Hollow Knight all on Switch, and I thought it was a really good one. One of the rare Switch titles that I actually switched back and forth from playing on the TV to playing it handheld mode.
I was surprised I could do anything in handheld mode. I
almost exclusively play my Switch in handheld mode.
I wish I could for a lot of games, but sometimes it doesn't feel accurate enough. For example, I never played Hades in handheld mode. I tried a couple times and I went, ew, this doesn't feel right, and I kept dying and blaming the handheld controls for it. But with Hollow Knight, I started it when I was on a plane ride and didn't know any better, basically, and felt like I could still do pretty difficult maneuvers on the handheld form, and it looked gorgeous in handheld.
Gorgeous. Yeah, that was some I think Breath of the Wild was like, this is not I don't know how anybody do play. Like you couldn't. It was hard to read stuff on that screen in Breath of the Wild. But
Yeah.
okay, we've got a Matt speedrun coming up here. All right, so Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Yes, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Hell yeah. It is a indie successor to Jet Set Radio, which is an older PS1 or PS2 game. I'm not entirely sure.
Sega Dreamcast.
Did it come out?
game.
Was it that old? Wow.
Yeah,
So
that's what I played it on first.
it's
I didn't know that was the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio because I love me some Jet Set Radio.
I think it has the same some songs from the original composer as well. And it's basically this. I don't even know what you call it. It's kind of like a Tony Hawk game where there's trick runs and you score points by doing grinds and moves and flips and junk. But the highlight is its soundtrack, and it just pops color, skateboards, bikes, and inline skates. It just looks cool. I'm excited. And on Switch, getting it.
So I have Lord of the Rings Gollum on here. Whether I have time to end up playing this game or not, I don't know. But it looks like first off, I mean, it's Lord of the Rings, so I'm like kind of sold already on that. And part of me just keeps remembering the Gollum missions in the Shadow of War games, and those are always my favorite, even though because like none of those games are canon, quote unquote. But my favorite canon-y parts of those games were the Gollum missions. I don't know why. I was fine with Hot Spider Lady, but you just kind of had to get over Hot Spider Lady.
Here's the thing with Gollum, though, and playing those sections in the games, the Shadow games.
Mm-hmm.
You're not playing as Gollum. Gollum's mostly just hangs out
He's
in the
kind of annoying
background
because of how slow he walks.
Right.
You can call it walking.
He's slow in the movies, and everything I've seen him in, he's either kissing ass or he's hanging out like behind a rock complaining to himself. And so this is hanging out behind a rock complaining to yourself, the game.
I don't know. Has there been a gameplay trailer?
I don't know.
I
It
think it's
must
just been a
be a
regular
stealth
trailer.
game. That must
Yeah,
be what
yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to end up being. But I put a note saying all I can imagine is one of those complicated button layout diagrams of the controller, but instead of normal punch jump, it's going to be something like eat fish, speak riddle, and cough up phlegm. That's all. It's going to be like the Goose Game. Untitled Goose Game,
yeah.
where instead of the quack button, he just hollum.
I really wish it would be a Game Pass game, just because I don't know. It's something I really want to try, but I don't know if I'll actually end up being into.
You guys didn't see the gameplay trailer?
I think I might have skipped through it. Was it in like Game Awards last year or something like that?
Something like that. You guys should just take a look. I'll edit the silence out and just let me know what you think.
I know this
the
is
looks
not
of
what
this
that is.
afterwards.
Oh, it actually is. I thought you were going to set up.
No,
a
he
joke.
looks like super weird. Like the art style they went with is really.
He's chibi. They tried to make him look cute.
I know, that's why it's so horrifying. It's definitely yeah. It's definitely a stealth game after looking at. I mean, it almost reminds me of like an old. It reminds me of almost like a PS2 stealth game.
Here's what it is. It reminds me of a THC branded or licensed game.
Yeah.
That double A that has kind of dropped out of
I
the
think
gaming
it's
industry.
either going to be awful or fill like a really niche itch in my brain that needs to be scratched.
Yeah.
And it could really go either way.
It just looks bad to me.
That's what I mean, though.
Like just the gameplay. Like if you go to like the timestamp of 57 seconds and like watch this animation of him shimmying across.
Yeah,
like maybe a little
that part
before
looks
that.
bad. Yeah, I don't like you know. Don't you never had like a game that like looked like, or like your parents got you. You know, you wanted the 3D game, but they got you like the 2D Game Boy Color version, and you're pissed off. But it ended up being like your favorite game for 3 years straight.
Or an uncle or aunt got you something that was just this has a Pokemon on it, and it just isn't. But you play it anyway, and you love it. But I'm saying we're almost 30, and you're gonna grab this voluntarily.
I'm saying if it's on Game Pass, or if it's like less than $30, I'll probably pick it up. But there's so many games coming out this year, I don't know if I'll have time. All right, next we have Wild Hearts with Matt.
Hell yeah. It is a Koei Tecmo EA Monster Hunter competitor. I think it spun out of a team that has done a Japanese only series that the name of which escapes me, but the trailers look awesome. And anyone trying to take on the Monster Hunter formula, I am rooting for, because as much as I play the Monster Hunter series, I could always have more of it. And I think that there is a lot of design space in that genre that could be utilized and other people could have a lot of fun with.
All right, I've got Judas. I'm kind of this game.
Judith, no.
I am surprised. I don't know. I think just because the trailer.
I've never even heard of this.
It's the trailer is really sick. Like the game mechanics remind me of BioShock, and then it also reminds me of BioShock and not in the
because it's made by it's Ken Levine's new studio.
Yeah.
Oh, that game.
And it seems
I
it's
did
not
see stuff about this.
stylistically like BioShock, but it is like BioShock in a way that it's like just really, really stylized into kind of like making its like own like era and culture just really vibrant in the way BioShock did. So I'm excited for it because of that.
It looks much more colorful. It seems almost like the Outer Worlds a little bit. I get more of the Outer Worlds vibe than I do. I don't know what to feel anymore, because BioShock was so foundational to me, and now that I've grown up a bit and I've learned more, I don't know. I wonder if they're resting on their laurels a bit.
Yeah, because the game mechanics do seem like super, like really just ripped straight out of BioShock.
When half the screen looks like the back of a hand.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be excited.
I'm honestly just more excited. It's just a really good trailer too, if you haven't seen the trailer. But yeah, that's why I'm excited about that one. All right, we got to rip through some of these here so we can get to our later stuff.
Oh, this doesn't have a release date yet, though, right? This was just announced this year.
Oh, I thought that had a 2023. Okay, well,
I don't believe
you heard about it anyways. All right, Matt, you've got Forspoken.
Real quick, Forspoken. I think Chris will be playing the demo of this because he has access to a PS5. Unless there's a Windows demo, then I will definitely give it a shot.
Is this the one that you're talking about? Is it going to come out on Windows that I thought was just coming out on PS5? Yeah.
Yep. It is a third-person action-adventure game. Everyone is ragging on it for its dialogue that is very Whedonistic, quippy MCU humor, seems like. But the enemies seem really cool. The combat seems really cool. The traversal seems really cool. And the magic system seems like one of those easy to learn, tough to master gameplay loops. I'm excited to poke around with it.
I was not very excited for this one. And then I kind of had the realization of like games that I love that this is probably going to be very similar to, which is Returnal and Control.
Maybe
like
in
those
the
are
combat,
shooters, but I
don't
see
think the
like
structure of the game is going to be the same.
No, probably not the structure, but like the jump around, fast paced shooting,
swapping
things
powers. Do a shield 1 second, and then a wave with the other. And it seems.
I'm so excited for the Returnal PC release, so I have somebody to talk to about that game.
I think so. Yeah, I'm hoping that the PS5 Slim or whatever detachable, because I went over to Chris's house to go play your PS5. Was like, that thing is huge, and I was like, well, if the Slim's going to come out, in the next year,
I have a spaceship in my living room.
Yeah, and Spider-Man is really and you know what? Fuck it, we're going straight to Spider-Man 2.
Let's do it.
This
I was
is the game
just
that's going to
playing
force
Miles
me.
Morales today.
This is the game that's going to force me to buy a PS5. I was obsessed and platinumed the first one. Not asterisk. I platinumed it, but not with the DLCs. And I'm super pumped for the new game.
I'm very pumped for it as well, but I didn't put my name next to it because I know I'm not going to play it until I beat the first two, which I have not done. So
they're not that. I mean, even with your like lick the plate through kind of playthroughs, I want to say it took me less than 60 hours to platinum. Like it's not
The thing
that
is,
big
First
a
one,
game.
definitely.
What I have the tendency to do, and this is what happened when I tried to play Spider-Man last time, is like I play a Batman game and I'm like, I want more of that. So then I go to Spider-Man and then I'm like over that gameplay loop within the 10 hours of the game starting.
Because
So I need to just like when I come off of a first-person shooter or something like that, just jump right into Spider-Man. And I even think like it's not the same, but I kind of consider all of those like third-person melee combat.
Yeah, superhero.
Like
They're definitely in a
Assassin's-
genre.
I'd put Assassin's Creed in that genre too, right now, personally.
Hopping on shit.
and Horizon Zero Dawn, stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
I usually end up playing Horizon Zero Dawn and Assassin's Creed Valhalla play very similarly.
There's less parkour and stuff in Horizon though.
Right. There is less parkour, and Horizon has the added layer of intelligence of like, you can't just run and just beat on whatever monster you want to fight.
Yeah, that game is actually it's hard.
Assassin's Creed is based on gear numbers. So I don't know. That's kind of been my problem. But I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, like outside of.
Yeah, he's my favorite
and
superhero
stuff,
for sure. I'm not as big of a
Same.
superhero guy, but will it live up to Spider-Man 2 PS2, do you think? It's got some big shoes to
that
fill.
is a
I don't know.
big shoe to fill.
I don't know. Are they going to have that moment where you can beat the shit out of Rhino hanging from a lamppost?
Are we really going to feel like Spider-Man?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't feel like Spider-Man unless I'm getting a kid's balloon that has floated off
Or
away.
a pigeon. In the new one, it's pigeons.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see because there's the Miles game has some slight gameplay and combat changes to how Peter Parker plays. So I don't know, are they doing the thing where you have submissions as Peter and some as Miles?
That's what I don't understand either.
They might be they're stripping out those Mary Jane sequences completely and giving us
God, I hope so. I know you like the Mary Jane stuff, and I was like, get this cliche story over with, please.
I like the
is,
story. I didn't like the missions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is Venom in Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, he's
in
the
this
villain.
one. Yeah, he's him and it sounds like Craven.
Wait, and
I think.
is there a Venom game coming out, or am I just
No.
imagining that?
Wolverine, I think, is the one you're
Okay,
thinking of.
yeah.
I just went and put my name down next to it because I'm a big Venom fan. I
dude,
love Venom.
Did you guys
I
ever
hope
play
you
the
can play
DS
as
Spider-Man
Venom.
game?
I want to play as the villain.
You use the DS Spider-Man game. You switch between levels. You played as Venom on some levels and Spider-Man on some levels. And I would play that game. I would charge up my DS all the way to 100% and play it until it died. I loved that game.
I feel like one of the first things that we ever bonded over, Tom, was the PS1 Spider-Man game with the fog below. And Venom, like you fight Venom halfway through for no reason, and then he just like joins up with you. And I have a distinct memory of when like it turns out the symbiotes are the bad guys. You like go to investigate some office building, and Venom's following you around going, surf the web, surf the web.
The big purple things. Yeah, that game was so good. Okay, moving on. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. With Matt.
Yes. I love these games. I have the Game Boy Advance. I think it's Mega Man Battle Network 3 White, because God forbid you have a game in that era that wasn't split between two versions to make double the money. But this is a series. I think I recommended a while back the One Step from Eden indie game to you guys. I don't know if you guys ever picked it up.
No.
The Battle Network games are basically real-time combat on a 3x3 grid. You're on a 3x3 grid, the enemy's on their own 3x3. And you are moving about the grid, shooting across the way, and all of your moves are based on a deck of programs or cards that are different abilities that affect different tiles on the grid. It's just really compelling combat. The story was really cool because on the one hand, you were the kid in the real world who kind of owned Mega Man. There's a weird relationship there, but you'd go around the school or wherever in the real world, if you're at a facility of some kind, and Mega Man ran into a firewall, you have to pull him out of the internet, move him to another spot, and then do all the fights. It was really fun. And this whole collection is, I think it's a total of 12 games or something like that, all on the Switch. And you could just play through them. I think it's kind of like those giant Kingdom Hearts collections where it's just a ton of games for the value. So very excited. Love to see some of the ones that I missed.
Sweet. I've got Alan Wake 2. I like Alan Wake. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. End of
what?
list. That's it.
Jake Gyllenhaal is in Alan Wake?
I don't know. Is it confirmed yet? Like, you look at the picture
It looked a lot like
of this,
Jake
and you tell me it's
Gyllenhaal.
not Jake Gyllenhaal. And oh no, it isn't Jake Gyllenhaal. No, but I love Jake Gyllenhaal. Well,
Oh, wow. It does look
it's,
like him.
It looks just like him. Anyways, you know what? I'll take a Jake Gyllenhaal look like whatever. I don't know. I have the remastered version of the first game. And I just haven't gotten around to playing it yet. I don't know why, just because my brain hasn't felt like it. It's also just one of those games I'm nostalgic for because it was, I think one of our friends got it for free and just gave me the disc. I was like, oh, I'll play it. And then
There was
ended
a
up loving
demo,
it.
too.
No, yeah, I played through the whole, or maybe I just had I don't remember. Either way, yeah, I'm a fan of those, or of the original, and I'm just excited for the sequel.
The remastered I just downloaded, so it's gonna be coming up here pretty soon on what I'm playing.
Yeah, I think it bugged out the first time I played it too, and I was still in that mode of like, maybe I'll play this, maybe I'll play something else, and then that just threw me off. I think it was a really weird bug though. I don't think I've heard the remaster runs great. All right, this is our last individual one, Matt. Then this is weird that this is an individual one, but Breath of the Wild 2, just Matt.
Yeah. Did you guys play the first one?
That's the thing. It's kind of one of those things. I have it, but I haven't played it yet. So.
I have it. I could not get into it. There was nothing about it. The thing I always said was, I don't know. Like, this game isn't doing anything. Like, it's like super well put together and everything, but it was like, I don't like it didn't do anything that I felt like other games weren't already doing. It's like a bad excuse to not like it. It's not even that I didn't like it. I was like, it just never grabbed me.
I bounced off of it the first time I tried to play. I think I got to the first big dungeon, the first great beast or whatever they called themselves. And then I put it away for a while. Other stuff came out that took my attention, and I decided, I think it was very intimidating to me. The giant map and it kind of did the Elden Ring thing before Elden Ring, where it doesn't give you a whole lot of hand holding. There's just, it does tell you, here are the 4 beasts, go beat them, but everything else is just up to you. So the second time I picked it up, I decided I'm just going to mainline the story. I'm just going to go as quick as I can. And there's a lot to it that I enjoy. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I'm curious to see the new mechanics that they add. I don't know how much of it's still Hyrule. I think it's almost the same map. They've just added a bunch of stuff to the sky. And there's a new mechanic, or at least a couple new powers. What I would really love to see is a playable Zelda, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I got through the first like monster thing, like the first quarter boss. I don't know, it just hadn't grabbed me at that point, but
I didn't grow up with Nintendo games, so I bounce off of them really fast.
it was,
and I wonder if
it was my
that's kind
first
of the
Zelda.
reason.
No, it was sort of my first Zelda game. It was basically my first Zelda game.
I played Link's Awakening a bit, and I was like, I just kind of got bored, like, after a little bit, I don't know.
Okay, one I forgot to write down, because it got announced sort of recently, is KSP 2, Kerbal Space Program 2. Go ahead and just
Put you on the side of a milk carton.
Disappear off of
No one
the
will
planet
know where you are.
I'm legitimately thinking about taking a vacation day the day this game comes out, because I'm so excited to just go back and explore every
You
single
should
planet.
do the day after so that they have time for a day one patch.
There's somebody that put out a YouTube video, like a goodbye KSP1 video. Is like, man, you better hope that they don't botch this release, because it could be really awkward if they do. It is a pre-release, so when it comes out next month in February, it's basically just going to be not even the content, honestly, that the first game has, because there's no career mode or anything yet. It's just going to be the sandbox of the same solar system that's in the original game, but with the, all the upgrades of, a new game 10 years, that's been created 10 years later. Everything's going to look better. A lot of not quality of life. What's it called when shit's just like easier?
That is quality of
that's
life.
what it is.
Right.
A lot of that. Yeah, I'm super excited for it. Eventually, they're going to add more planetary systems, which is insane. And multiplayer, I have no idea how that's going to work because, like, when you're traveling to other planets, let alone other solar systems, you time more literal years ahead. So I don't know how that's going to work. But either way, I think that's my most played Steam game is the first one at like 500 hours. So
boy.
I'm stoked for it. Okay, Atomic Heart. I don't have my name on this one. It's just kind of those ones that I'd like to play, but I don't know if I'll have time to. And I haven't made up my mind on it. Chris and Matt, what are you guys excited for?
I have been watching this game religiously since that first trailer dropped where everybody was like, what the hell is this? And I would say that things have changed for it a lot. Like Mick Gordon kind of had a falling out with Bethesda over Doom, and he's doing the soundtrack. And that makes, along with him coming onto the project and the last trailer, it looks like it's going to be more of a Doom type thing. What I wanted and what I thought it was going to be when this trailer first dropped was a like Soviet science based BioShock. And I was like, that's going to be dope as hell. And more of like a horror vibe, where this is starting to look more like a little bit of a first person zombie killer stuff.
That's what I just couldn't decide. Like, it seems interesting.
If it ends up being more of an immersive sim, it is, I'm pumped for it. If it ends up being more of a boomer shooter, I'm like still kind of excited, but a little trepidatious about it.
I'm almost getting Wolfenstein vibes from it.
Yeah,
the two that came out relatively recently, New Order.
I know that there was
the other one.
I know that there was quite the issues with some of the development on it. Like, so I kind of wonder if it's going to be having a hard time like figuring out its own identity. Because I know that some people who played like old builds of it and stuff even described it being like first person Bloodborne.
Oh,
so like, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how it ends up. And I think I think first person Bloodborne would be dope. I think Russian BioShock would be dope. I think Soviet Russian Doom could be pretty cool. I think an amalgamation of the three of those things is probably going to be pretty bad. So
too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Great. Fruitcake, nasty crap.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if you have more to add to that, Matt.
I'm just here for the vibes. I hope you can play it in the original language. I hope.
Oh my
because
God.
one of the trailers had
The
English dubbing.
dub trailer was dog shit. It was so bad. It was gross. I hated it.
Didn't
the voice acting.
Didn't want that.
Not only did it not match up at all, which you would expect it not to be, but the voice acting was so bad. It was just like, come on, you're in danger. Like, I don't
just
know.
kind of hired on Fiverr vibes.
Yeah, and the other thing too is they're kind of leaning into this. Like at the end of your trailer, there it showed like a little cartoon guy,
almost
and
like
it's a
Vault
utopian
Boy.
dream. Yeah, so that's the other thing too is if it's going to throw Fallout in the mix there, then it sounds like it might be having a little bit of an identity crisis. I don't know.
All right, next we have Hogwarts Legacy, which Matt and I have on it. I'm mostly excited about this. I don't know if I have a really tough time with huge games because if I'm going to commit 50 to 80 hours to a game, it has to be it's tough for a game to grab me for that period of time. But if all else, I'm just excited to if they get that Hogwarts vibe down right, and I don't know, just growing up with it and the nostalgia of it is mostly what I'm excited for. The gameplay stuff looks fun. I hope it's enough to grab me. I'm probably gonna end up getting it anyways, just to like wander around Hogwarts and the Hogwarts grounds.
They showed some of the stuff surrounding the house common rooms that brought me straight to back to the movies, where it just the Slytherin common room has this snake in like a trench that the snake writhes up the wall, makes a hoop, and that the door is formed underneath the snake where it passes, and you just
Like
go
the Chamber of Secrets.
kind of, yeah. It's just, I think if they capture the magic of the environment, I'm gonna be really impressed.
It's definitely vibes. They got to get the vibes right.
Also, they appear to have a kind of Animal Crossing thing with the room of requirement where you can upgrade it and decorate it and stuff, which I am particularly weak to. I take double damage to Animal Crossing simulations. My only concerns are, I think the story could be dog water, depending on some of the stuff that I've heard about. It seems a little sketchy, and the obvious drama that's going to be around it regarding J.K. Rowling being a d-bag and people not wanting to support her through supporting this game. So Twitter's going to be unreadable for a while, and I'm probably going to wait to pick this up used just to avoid that moral conundrum altogether. But combat looks fun. Environments look great. If I can ride a broom or a hippogriff, I'm going to be really happy.
It looks fun. I could see it. I'm just going to have to see how it ends up releasing, because it looks like it could have sort of a Square Enix Avengers thing happen to it too, where it's just like nothing, you know what I mean? Like just filler beat on stuff missions. But I haven't done nearly the research that you guys have done.
I mean, I've honestly purposely been not watching they put out an hour-long gameplay video,
It's
and I was just like,
the one I've got pulled up right now is a half an hour.
Yeah, I just made the call that I'd rather discover that while I'm playing the game. Just not that it's so much just spoiler, but just I'm definitely gonna play it. And I'm not at the level of excitement with it that I need, like what I was with Fallout 5 or Fallout 4, where I needed to digest every little piece of anything that Bethesda put out. But yeah. Here, all right. A series that I've never gotten into that you two have on the list is Diablo 4.
Yes. Again, more controversy and more people being D-bags, ruining the fun of video games. Because yes, Blizzard is run by egomaniacal, at least one, probably more egomaniacal psychopaths, and people don't want to encourage that by supporting the company. But boy, does this look like an amazing game. This is Diablo is probably the first action RPG or even RPG that I really played, and it was definitely the first loot pinata style game that I ever played. And as a result of that, it got me into stuff like Borderlands or even some MMOs where the rarity tiers of gear, that gear chasing gameplay loop is definitely there. But with the improvements that they've made with, it seems like the story and the overall ambiance is going to be much darker this time around than 3. I adored 3. I played it couch co-op on the Xbox 360 with my dorm mates in college, and we just put hours into it, just mowing down enemies, going back to town, everyone taking a pee break while everyone else managed their inventory. And it seems like this one has some almost MMO style raid bosses where you can just kind of drop in with other players to kind of, I think everybody on a server shard can all fight this giant monster all at once. I'm excited for it. And it's looking less and less likely that the whole Blizzard Microsoft merger is happening. But if it does, and this ends up on Game Pass, this becomes a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like village or base building stuff in it too? Something like that?
I do not know.
For some reason, my brain is telling me that was there, but I don't know if it actually is. Yeah, I mean, it looks. I like the tonal shift. I'm definitely excited for it, but I'm definitely not like white knuckle gripping the table excited for it. I'm like, yeah, it looks fun. I beat Diablo 3 and all of its DLCs solo. I have yet to play one of those games with someone for more than like 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks fun. I like the tonal shift is really good. Diablo 3 was pretty good. I don't know. See, the thing is like, I played the shit out of it. I went all the way through it. I took like a character to level cap or whatever and went through all the DLCs. And
I didn't know you played it that much.
yeah, but I don't think I looked back on it thinking, man, that game was incredible. I just kind of did it.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I was definitely having fun. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. But like, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty excited.
And my memories of it might be colored by the fact that I played it almost always with 3 other people.
Mm-hmm.
True, and you played Diablo 2 also, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like the like walk into a cloud of enemies and push things to make them explode gets a little old, I think, being that far removed from the action for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's because, like, especially in the opening, like, sometimes these ARPGs are such a slog until you, like, start getting a build going.
Right. When you actually get synergies between all your gear.
Yeah. And that's kind of my problem with Grim Dawn right now. But, yeah, I'm excited for it.
I don't like the lady's big skin cape. I don't like dots on it. Wasn't into that. Okay.
Oddly, that's a pro for me.
All right. We're getting into the last ones here. This is the last 2-person one. We've got Chris and Matt on Witchfire, which I don't know. I've like never even heard of this or
Gothic horror boomer shooter. Sign me up, baby. It looks fun.
It was announced years ago. I want to say almost 5.
Oh,
Tom,
wow.
look at this gameplay and don't tell me that this doesn't look fucking awesome.
I mean, it looks cool. I've somehow, just never seen any video of this.
Also, it's got those Hunt Showdown bolt action flintlock things.
The satisfying
guns.
clicky noises.
Yeah, those guns are just the best in video games. Like Apex Legends, you can have all your high-tech stuff that auto-aims and all this, whatever. Just like a clunky, rusty bolt-action rifle is all I need, man.
I don't know that it's a Is it a roguelike?
I don't know, that's what a headline I just read said.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pumped for this. This is like I'm going to buy it. Like, I just don't even have to think about
immediately.
it.
It's been...
It's like my aesthetic, my gameplay style, like...
It does look like it lost some of the vibes from that initial trailer, but that might have just been one of those bullshot glam trailers to set the mood more than to really show any actual gameplay. But also because it's been in development for so long, they just may have found the fun in a faster pace environment than what they started off with.
Yeah.
All
this
right.
game looks dope as hell.
We've got here. All right, we're into the last 3 here that all 3 of us have expressed excitement for, and Callisto Protocols first up.
Which it came out.
It came out, but it is still 2023, and none of us have played it yet, so that's why I think why it's still in here. The trailers. My thing is the trailers look sick, but did it come out in 2022?
Yeah. I think it came out too late for the Game of the Year cycle.
I think it still counts as like a 2023 conversation.
Yes, yeah.
None of us have played it.
Yeah, the trailers look cool, but the reviews haven't been great. I've been wanting to do some further digging into it if I wasn't busy playing Tiny Tina already, but...
So, here's my thing. I think, like, it looks fun, and the reviews have been so-so, but, like, if it came on the Game Pass, I'd play it or something, and maybe even consider buying it, but... We have Dead Space remake that I'm excited for, and Resident Evil 4 remake that I'm excited for right around the corner. And like,
you don't want to
overfill. Of the three, like Callisto Protocol is shot like onto the bottom of that list. Yeah.
Lastly, I don't know how much more we have to say about this that hasn't already been said, but Starfield do we feel like it's going to come out on its given release date now?
I think it's going to come out. I am still kind of scared for it.
Mm-hmm.
Though
I've enjoyed every Bethesda game I've played. It's probably going to be jank, and I'm okay with that. And that's where I'm at.
But is it going to be 76 jank? That's the thing that scares me the most.
That's true.
Because I don't think so, because I don't think the multiplayer component is anywhere near what 76 tried to do. And the introduction of the ship combat, the ship flying. I didn't think
the ship stuff is what I'm excited for.
If someone had asked me before they announced that whether or not we'd actually get to fly the ship, I'd have said no way in hell.
Yeah.
I would have said that too.
It's like the Metro in Fallout 3.
In Fallout 3, the train was an NPC whose head was replaced by the train, and he just walked, but the body was hidden.
Man,
that was the program. They didn't have the code to make a working vehicle, but there was a couple scenes where you had to board a train and the train had to move.
I remember it being weird.
Is they created an NPC, took his head off, replaced it with the train model, and then buried his body, fast. But told him to walk forward to get the train to move.
In Fallout 3?
Yeah.
It was the...
When does the train move?
Liberty
it's a DLC. Yeah, Liberty. You take the train... I don't remember where you take it. But I do remember it being weird because it's the only time the screen just fades to black and then you just appear somewhere else.
I think it's when you go to the pit, maybe. Or also. Is it...
Or is it Point Lookout? No, you go to Point Lookout with a ship.
On a boat. I think the boat is the same thing, though.
That's funny. Huh.
Yeah, that little clip of them customizing their ship got me real excited. Mm-hmm. Just like as an additional thing to just
also
another...
the skill
for those
tree.
At home.
Oh. Yeah.
For those at home, Tom is resident space boy.
Yeah.
That
wasn't obvious by the KSP2 talk already.
I just like Bethesda, man. I know they kind of boned everybody on Fallout 76, but I like everything I've played by them.
It's love like a company that I could Fallout 76 still.
Yeah, and when I finish Fallout 4, I'm gonna play it. I'm like really
forcing myself to complete these games. Like all of the Fallout games I've played the shit out of, just not necessarily beaten.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to it. Like I'm planning on playing it. I don't know. It's kind of like, if I'm being honest with myself, do I want to sit there and be like, you better do well, and like, and talk a big game or something? But like, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah. It could be yesterday's leftovers for all I care, but also it does look like they're bringing back the base building stuff from Fallout 4.
Of course, you gotta.
They put a lot of man hours in that, and so they want to keep that going. But it does look really nice. It looks fun. It looks cool. I just hope it feels fun to play.
Cool.
I also am kind of getting, movies have kind of done this lately too. I'm kind of getting into that like realistic sci-fi vibe too, instead of like
yes, this feels more The Expanse versus Mass Effect.
Yeah. Redfall, Vampire, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Next.
No, apparently it's vampire. The early previews have been saying it's Redfall Far Cry, which almost makes me more excited.
Oh, fuck yeah. That makes me that's more exciting.
Man, just like a multiplayer Far Cry just sounds amazing.
I'm a big sucker for reload animations and just the like telekinetic, like pushing the bullets into the gun, like that has me on the game already.
Wasn't their trailer one of those ones where the shooting goes along with the beat of the
music
song, which is overdone a million times, but I also love it every single time somebody does it.
It'll never get old.
Wait till you play a game like Bullets Per Minute or Metal Hellsinger, where that's the game, and it gives you an erection that lasts much longer than 4 hours.
My only concern with Redfall is it seems the powers are tied to specific characters. So I wonder if all 4 people want to play as the guy with the little drone.
Did we talk about this?
I think we did on a previous podcast.
That you can. I think that
okay.
You were that you can.
That alleviates my major worry.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my concern there is like there's got to be progression, right? So if you stick a bunch of time into one character, are you people only going to want to play as that one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, will there be team comp? But I guess Deep Rock Galactic is fine.
That's what I was thinking. Deep Rock is the same way, and it's
Yeah.
whatever. It's annoying if ever. Yeah. Well, the thing is,
You play 4 drillers.
because that's what I was gonna say. It's usually the most the one that you need is usually the one that everybody's leveled up anyways. So
I also was able to see Harvey Smith give a keynote at a developer conference, and he seems very stoked to have worked on the game and is ready for it to come out. So that's a good sign, I feel like.
okay, we're gonna talk about Transformers, and then we're gonna go to our quoties.
Oh yeah, sorry, real quick. Movie we were going to do the movies coming out, but we're running low on time. So the only thing I want to say is Transformers Rise of the Beasts, June 9th. Yes, I'm serious. I don't know if Michael Bay is still in charge of these things or not. I think it's the same people that did Bumblebee. But it's based off of Beast Wars, which I grew up with. I don't know if you guys did. But Beast Wars has some really awful CGI that has not aged well.
No, it's got that vampires CGI. It's the same.
It must be pretty close. But instead of cars and vehicles, they transformed into animals. And animals and giant robots instead of cars and giant robots. And there were many VHS tapes of recorded episodes of Beast Wars because it would air before I got home from school and I could not miss it. So my mom, the saint that she is, would record episodes of Beast Wars, and I had all the toys, and it was my jam. And to see the new hotness with all the CGI, all the it looks like it's gonna be cool. It looks like it's gonna be cool. And I think they've gotten a lot better. They've moved away from the metal vomit design of the Bay Transformers to try and emulate the 80s. Yeah, they try to emulate the 80s cartoons a little more with their silhouettes and whatnot.
I just saw this one's directed by Michael Bay's brother, Hudson.
You son of a guy. You had me for a hot second.
I almost said Hudson Bay. Oh, you mean Hudson Bay?
All right, here we go. This is the 2023 The Quoties. We are going to kind of go over. We have 2 awards up for grabs tonight. One is an individual's game of the year that was not released in 2022, and an individual's 2022 game of the year. We're going to start with the old games. I'm going to list all of the games that you listed, and then of those 2, you can give like your surface thoughts, and then which one out of those do you pick? Tom, you can go first. It looks like you have Advanced Wars Days of Ruin on the 3DS, and then Halo Infinite.
Yeah, so I played a lot of both of those games this year. Halo Infinite, everybody probably knows. It's a new Halo game that came out technically in 2021. No.
Depending on who you ask.
It was this time last year, yeah.
Did it come out? Is it finished? But
I still love it. The
take.
The game's still got good bones. It is rough around the edges, but the core gameplay is super fun. It doesn't hurt that I have other friends that are super dedicated to it, and I'm in a league. I don't know. I love the I don't know. It's just fun to be a little bit serious and competitive about a game. And then Advanced Wars Days of Ruin is a game that came out in 2006.
I don't even know. A long time ago when we were young.
It's an old one. And I was on the DS. I loved cracking my DS back out. I played it in the I played it in the 3DS. So it wasn't squished, but it was cut off on the edges, like you're watching an old movie on your widescreen TV. And that one's getting my game of the year that didn't come out this year. I think I ended up putting 30 hours into it. It's just a turn-based war game. It's sort of like, just any RTS that you would think of, like StarCraft, but just turn-based. The campaign comprises of 30 or so missions where you're just playing against a computer. I've heard back in the day that there was online, you could play against people online.
You could share maps.
Yeah, oh, really? I didn't know that. And
Yeah,
I've
there
heard
was a-
people.
There was a map editor and everything.
Yeah,
it was,
and I've
it was
heard-
Forge before there was Forge.
I've heard people love. It was supposed to be the best game for multiplayer because of how competitive it was. I think it would be one of those games where if I lost against somebody else, I would just put on my dunce hat and sit in the corner for the rest of my life because it makes you feel real dumb when you lose to the computer. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it though. I honestly played it on a whim. I think Matt gave it to me or let me borrow it to play it, and I think you gave it to me on a whim. And
You said you were in the mood for some turn-based goodness, and I
Right.
had the DS release of Final Fantasy III, and I had the Advance Wars games.
And I think I had asked for Final Fantasy 3, but you just said, hey, there's these Advance Wars games that are also turn-based if you want to try those. And I just decided to pop that in first, and then that's all I played for a month. So yeah, super fun. That's
And
all
the
I have to
way
say
I
about that.
described it was I gave him both Advance Wars Dual Strike, which was the first one that came out on the DS, and then Days of Ruin. And the way I described them was Days of Ruin is boo war crimes, and Advance Wars Dual Strike is yay war crimes. So the mood of the story is much different in the other one if you decide to play it. Going on from that, so Advance Wars wins Tom's individual game of the year. Christopher, you have Return of the Obra Dinn, released in 2018, or Resident Evil Village, released in 2021.
So this one's tough for me, and I'm gonna have a similar situation in the 2022 Game of the Year, where I really want to be the good boy hipster and say Return of the Obra Dinn.
Mm-hmm.
But once I've done that game, I don't think I'll come back. It was a lot of fun. It was quick. It was
weird to watch you play it.
Yeah, it was extremely unique. It's got this weird like Mac monitor graphic style, like old school original Mac, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it, but basically the premise of the game is you have a stopwatch and you go around and find a ship, like a ghost ship or whatever. There's a term for it, but a missing ship like washes ashore, and you have to figure out what happened to the crew on it. Nobody's there anymore, and you have a stopwatch that when you look at a body, you click the stopwatch and it shows you the exact moment when this person died. And then you have a logbook, and you have to figure out who every single person, which is like 60 people on the ship, who they are, what happened to them, and where they are now, and who they were killed by if they were killed. And it got supernatural partway through when I didn't really expect it to, and it kind of spooked me. But it was cool. I was expecting some big ass reveal, I think, at the end, and there was like a moment where you got to see this like whole section of the book that you didn't have like through the main part of the game, but it was kind of like, oh, that's what happened to them. And that was it. So it was fun though. I would highly, if you're into the detective type, like figure it out for yourself with absolutely no help whatsoever, to the point that you need to text somebody that's played it before. I would highly recommend this game. It's very, very, very good. It's a Lucas Pope game who also did Papers, Please. But Resident Evil Village takes it, man. It's Resident Evil, it's Village. It's a lot like it's a lot like Resident Evil 4. It's not Resident Evil 4, but it's a lot like Resident Evil 4. And there's a mech fight towards the end. And then there's also like Resident Evil 7 was scary all the way through. Resident Evil 8 did a good job of balancing out the scary and the action to where it was good enough to keep playing. Matt has found the third video down, maybe the scariest moment of any video game that I have ever played in my entire life. It's holy shit.
Potential spoilers, so I won't say exactly what it is, but
yeah, but it's for those of you that have played it, it's the dollhouse. And,
oh yeah, I don't need to play this game.
Matt, are you watching this video, the dollhouse section with the audio on?
Nope, and I won't.
Boy howdy.
You know what's really funny is for Christmas, my dad got a Oculus Rift, because we showed him at ours at our house and he got to play through some stuff. And one of the packaged in products of the Oculus Rift is one of these Resident Evil games.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
if it's Village or 7.
7 came out on VR.
Okay, so it must be that one. And I had to warn him. I was like, you get up and run away when The Walking Dead gets a little too scary. This is attached to your face. You're not going to be able to run. He's going to run into a wall and just hurt himself. So I was like, you got to really prepare yourself if you're going to try that.
Man, this was where I just I heard this monster in this section, and I just never, this guy in this video, I get that he's trying to make a cool video or whatever, but I just never looked back.
I really want to play it, but I was just trying to get through the game before but I might just jump straight into it.
Oh, I turned on the audio. I should have turned on the audio.
I'm purposefully not watching Matt's stream right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, man. It's but yeah, that game's great. Especially Castle Dimitrescu, the big lady, the big step omni lady. That was fun.
Oh god.
It's just a fun game. Yeah. But yeah, Resident Evil Village, as much as I want to be hipster boy and say Return of the Obra Dinn, Resident Evil Village definitely takes it for me.
Takes it. There we go. All right, I have 3 on my list, but 2 of them are going to be real quick. My 2 multiplayer obsessions for 2022 were Apex Legends Season 13. That is when Newcastle was released to the game, and I played the hell out of it with a couple friends of mine. I was enthralled to the stupid battle pass again because the final weapon was a weapon that I adore. So I needed to get the cool dragon themed skin for it, obviously. So hundreds of hours went into that. I don't know that I did enjoy the season, but I think I burnt myself out on Apex and I have not really touched it in the intervening 2 seasons since. The other multiplayer experience was Hunt Showdown. It is a perennial favorite of the group. There's not a whole lot new that I can say aside from I think they're heading in the right direction in terms of their events and their monetization stuff. They've made some changes. They're kind of going in a diagonal direction where some stuff's getting better, some stuff's getting a little iffy, but my main concern is the events seem to be a little more accessible to those of us who don't just want to play this one game for 2 or 3 weeks or however long the event is. And also it does seem like they're making some cool gameplay changes with the recent Inferno
if I could,
map
I
variants.
played 5 in a row and never got that. That's my issue with this game is they keep adding stuff and then it's, I don't know.
And then you don't really
random
see
chance if you get it and you never see it.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
they had specific weekends or something where every map was going to be that during the time frame. So I don't know. Maybe they announced it on their social media or something.
Just because we're partially on the subject, I feel like Deep Rock Galactic is the model of what live service games should be like.
Yeah,
where it's just
and it's like when they release new stuff, it's
you know?
straight up new kinds of levels and stuff, and that was my issue with Hunt. Well, I mean, the thing I put over 300 hours in this game, over 200 for sure. And that being said, I got my money's worth, but
for sure,
it just got to the point where I didn't feel like it seemed like there was always updates for this game, and every time I'd read the updates, there was never anything in there that made me think, yeah, I want to boot this game back up because of this new update that they have.
My game of the year that was not released in 2022 is definitely Inscription. It took me a while to play or to get around to it. I know I bought it pretty soon after it's released, but it just missed our window of our last game of the year episode, so I didn't get a chance to really talk about it. I think it is one of the most clever indie games I've ever played. I think it messes with expectations in an amazing way. I went in thinking it's a certain kind of game, and it ends up being a lot more than just what it appears to be. I I also
Matt is very intentionally speaking in extreme vagaries because it's one of those games you kind of can't say a lot.
yeah, I don't want to ruin the magic.
So it's
Yeah.
easy and hard to spoil simultaneously.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I think mechanically is very clever. I think there's a lot of depth to a game that at first blush seems really simple. Where you go, oh, I'm gonna kind of figure this out and beat this game in 2 hours and be done with it, and then they just keep introducing little twists. And it's a game that's not afraid of being completely unfair and just kicking you while you're down, just to set the vibe. It's not a Bloodborne Dark Souls thing where you just have to get good. It is literally them saying, no, screw you. You're not progressing yet, and shoving you back to the front. I think it's really clever, and I think I didn't look this up before we recorded. It's either a solo developer with some outsourced work, or it's a very small team. But they made a lot with a little. I think there was a lot of really cool, really smart ways of approaching this game that they were able to provide a lot of content without having a huge overhead, which as an aspiring developer, I am just extremely impressed by.
I loved it too. I think there was a very specific reason for me why it didn't make it to my list. And I think it's because of my inability to jive with turn-based combat very well. Best roguelike deck builder I've played. Also only roguelike deck builder I've played. I've dabbled in Slay the Spire and Draft of Darkness a little bit. But I found myself after about halfway through this game finishing it simply to see how this ends up, not because I was enjoying the game anymore. I got to points where it was like, okay, I got to do it again.
Yeah, I wish you could knock the difficulty down.
Yeah, because I just wanted to be through it,
There's one time I died because I missed something obvious on accident, and it was similar to Dark Souls where you have to fight the dogs every time you go to, not the dogs. I mean, sort of the dogs, but you have to fight those little demon guys every time you go to beat the Capra demon again. And you're just thinking the whole time, I've already beat these guys 18 times. This isn't fun anymore. And then you get to the point where it's like, I just want to rush through this to get to the Capra demon, and then they stab you in the back and you die, and then you just throw the game out your window.
Yeah.
That's why when you go through that area once and you take the back way up to Firelink Shrine, and then you fight the Capra demon coming from Firelink Shrine.
This is not what we're talking about. All right. Final item is that it is much scarier than I thought a card game could be.
It's spooky.
Yeah,
it's
for
spooky.
Sure.
You play it in the dark being like, it's a card game. How spooky could it be? Then about an hour in, you go, I'm going to play more tomorrow.
It is a
talking
good
to
amount of
somebody-
spooky, though. Like,
I was talking to somebody about it today, and I kind of explained like the setup, which I feel like isn't really a spoiler. Basically, you get like captured by a guy in the woods, and it's a roguelike. And
the dude's voice alone, the sound that they use for his voice, like, ooh.
And if he kills you, he takes a pic. Like if you lose the card game, he takes a picture, and the person that you were just playing as, who's now dead, becomes like a new card to play with. And I was telling somebody at work about that today. But oh shit,
yeah,
I was like,
it's kind of really gross in some parts.
Yeah.
Also, the points that you accrue while you're playing the card game are teeth, and if you're falling a little bit behind, there's a temporary consumable item that you can use to gain a few points, which is just a pair of pliers. And I don't want to give away too much of the surprises, but there's a lot of stuff like that is just gross. But
I think the last thing that should be said about it too is the audio design, what you were talking about with the voice, but just like you saying the teeth clinking into the little like scale and all of that. Every single sound effect in that game. Yeah, every single sound effect in that game was perfect.
Super satisfying. Yeah.
If you play headphones, it feels like you're. Yeah, it's also kind of funny, especially if you're playing on PC, because you're sitting at a desk playing it, and then in the game you're sitting at a desk.
I
playing
Steam linked it. I Steam linked it into my living room because I wanted to put it on my big speakers and
Oh, there
turn
you
the
go.
lights down.
That works too. But Inscription is definitely my game of the year that was not released in 2022. All right, here we go. This is the Box Quote Podcast inaugural Quoty nominees.
I've got 3. Tom's got 2. Matt's got 6.
I have a lot. I'm sorry. I played a lot this year. Chris, looks like you've got Elden Ring, Scorn, and Signalis on your list.
So Scorn. So okay, I have 3 games here because I have 3 games that I played that came out in 2022. And that's pretty much the reason Scorn is there. The art direction is really great. The game is frustrating as all get out, especially when they introduce the combat in the back half. We're going to talk about it in depth in a future episode,
Okay.
but the end leaves you with thoughts. And it's pretty good, I guess.
Tom, I see you also have Scorn on your list, so is there anything you want to add while we're here?
No, it is a vibes game. The gameplay isn't bad, but it's only 5 hours long. That's kind of tells you, I think,
God.
all you need to know. Like, and it only needs to be 5 hours long, which is to say the gameplay is adequate, but you're there for the vibes.
I'm about
yes.
2 hours in, I think.
The
and I don't
ending-
know if I'm going to make it all the way to the 5, but we'll see.
Yeah.
The ending is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this is where I need to be honest with myself. So Signalis, I'm not actually really sure how to say it, was dope as hell. If you're at all into Resident Evil, and especially like old school Resident Evil Silent Hill games, this game is incredible. Like, I cannot stress enough how good this game is, with like the graphics, the vibe that has this, like, you play as like an android, so it's like futuristic tech, but then all of the tech in the game is actually like floppy disk era.
Oh,
if that makes sense.
that's cool.
Yeah, and then there's like a setting in the game to give you more of the old school retro vibe, where it will bow your screen out so it looks like you're playing on a CRTV.
I have it downloaded, but I haven't stepped in it yet.
It's awesome. It's super scary, and there's definitely some like, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's definitely some like Inscription subversion stuff that happens.
Fun.
So, it's just way good. It's like, I can't say too much without spoiling it, but if you have any love for that type of genre, old school survival horror, this is a must play.
Available
Easy.
on Game Pass.
Available on Game Pass. It is a must play. But the game that I'm going to come back to probably for the rest of my life is Elden Ring.
Did you end up beating it?
I haven't yet because things keep distracting me, but like, I loved it. I absolutely adored it. Still haven't finished it just because I feel like I finished a lot of games, but I simultaneously don't finish a lot of games. It's a really weird place to be in. But like, it's just like, I want to be hipster boy and say, I don't know, man. They're kind of tied, honestly, because Signalis is it's just perfect. Like, the puzzles are so good. Okay, I'm not talking about Signalis. Shut up. But Elden Ring, the world, the bosses, the from softness. For those that don't know me on the show, I live, breathe, eat Dark Souls. Like, especially just the tried and true FromSoft line. Bloodborne is in like my top 3 favorite games of all time. Yeah, Elden Ring is just Elden Ring, man. It's hard to stand that up. Signalis would take it, bar none, if it wasn't for its competition being Elden Ring.
Right.
So it's sort of a tie between those two for me.
I also have Elden Ring on my list, and I everything that Chris says, but I am not a FromSoft aficionado. On our previous gaming podcast, Chris took me kicking and screaming through Bloodborne, and I did beat it. But I had a lot of thoughts, which you can find in the show notes of today's episode. We'll link to that long ass episode. But with Elden Ring, I think the changes that they made in transferring to an open world really solved a bunch of my problems with the format. The respawn points in front of
The
bosses.
stakes-
So you
the
don't
stakes
have
of
to do
America.
the you don't have to do the walk back every time you die to a boss.
That was my
Loved
biggest
it.
complaint with the older ones.
That probably kept me going through it, but also the build variety in Elden Ring is insane. I think some of the guys, and if you talk to people like Chris, they will say that there's a bunch of build variety in Bloodborne and in the Dark Souls, but really to me it seemed like it drilled down to big sword guy or spell guy, and that's it. Whereas in Elden Ring, you've got all the different weapons feel pretty varied. They have different attack patterns, different weights to them, different speed. And then the spells are so freaking cool that you feel really powerful, even though you're getting your teeth kicked in every 2 feet. And then this was the first FromSoft game that got me, like Chris was, where I played through it 3 times. I platinumed it, and I was that guy waiting for every new VodiVidya YouTube video, just deep diving into the lore and explaining what is this group, what does this mean, what is that enemy's story. I just tore through it. I loved it, and I think it was the first game in a long time that, since Skyrim, that felt unspoilable. There's just so much to it that anyone could be like, "Oh, did you see the thing up here? No, where is that? All the way up here. How do you even get there?" I don't. It's amazing. I think it's a chef's kiss. Great game. I'm excited for any DLC that comes out.
The loop and like traversal of it was very good. Like, there's something for like games feeling natural, I think. But then there's also like, sometimes you kind of want just like this is a dungeon. I go through dungeon and open treasure chest. That is satisfying. You know what I mean?
The
like
Diablo
gamey stuff.
Just
tear
through.
Elden Ring hit that balance really well, where like you understood the structure of the world, but at the same time it was all mystical and you didn't understand any of it at all. You know, like I kind of liked that about it. Like, you knew what you were there in a camp for whenever you attacked a camp. You know what I mean? Like, or went into a dungeon.
Right.
That's kind of nice.
Excellent. Tom, you have both Scorn, which we've already talked about, and Inscription on your list.
Yeah, so I'm having my cake and eat it too, because sorry, I have to get back to the tab. I played Inscription in 2022, and technically it came out in 2022 on everything else outside of PC. Did I play it on PC? Yes. I don't care. It is. I'm putting it in this list.
I did the same thing for Monster Hunter Rise, so it's fine.
Yeah, because it's personally my game of the year for 2022 for all the reasons we mentioned above. I came hot off of Slay the Spire, which is another roguelike card game that I fell in love with in 2021. And I immediately love this game as well. The mechanics are amazing. It's a little bit of bullshittery like there is with every kind of turn-based and roguelike game that pissed me off a few times. But I got over it. There's some... I think this is a good way to put it without spoiling it, but also people that have played the game will know what I'm talking about. In the latter half of the game, there's some really cool meta stuff that just tickled me. And yeah, like Matt said, the game just surprises you over and over again. 10 out of 10. Well, yeah, whatever. It's good. Like that game a lot.
Excellent. Like Chris said, I have quite a few on the list, so I'm going to try and really rapid fire some stuff. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak came out in 2022. DLC to Monster Hunter Rise, which I really enjoyed. I think in terms of if you're comparing this expansion to Iceborne, the Monster Hunter World expansion, I don't know if it provided as much value, but it's still just good fucking food. Just give me more.
Finally.
Finally some good food. Just give me more of what I already love and slather it on there, and I think it did that just fine. But the only downside is I played it on Switch, so I didn't have a whole lot of people to play it with. We already discussed Elden Ring. the first game I think I played of 2022 was Pokemon Legends Arceus on the Switch. This was a spin-off of the normal Pokemon formula where it's more open world, almost Monster Hunter structure, where you select a map and then are collecting all the, the creatures and the veritable pocket monsters, and you're doing a lot of what you're used to, but with a twist. There's no gym leaders, there's fewer trainers. The story is actually pretty cool. I think the best part of it was it really nailed these aren't just pixels, these are my friends thing, the vibe that I got from growing up. I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Pokemon fanatic. Just the character that this game brought to the world and to the creatures was really nice. My two indie shout-outs are Citizen Sleeper and Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb was a big surprise for me. It was really cute, and at first I thought that was its big selling point. Like, there wasn't a whole lot to it. But after a little while, the loop gets more pronounced. There's a little more depth than at first glance, but still not a whole lot. It is fun, but it's short and sweet, and I really enjoyed putting, I think, 12 hours into it and then calling it done. Did either of you get around to playing Cult of the Lamb?
I watched you play a lot of it.
I really want it. Would probably be on my list if I was able to buy it at some point this year, but I wasn't.
I do recommend it. Short, sweet, to the point. And
I'm usually kind of a discount gamer, so really for having 3 games that came out in 2022 that I got to play,
I think this year is going to be
good for me.
Because I've heard people say this year felt like a light, or almost light. Like,
not for me.
That's what I was gonna say, because Matt, you kept saying all year, man, there's so many games this year. I'm like, there's definitely like good games that came out this year. I'm not saying that, but 2023 is going to hurt my schedule and my wallet, I think.
Yeah. My other indie I have to recommend is Citizen Sleeper. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I am going to force both of these chuckleheads to play it at some point. It is on Game Pass.
I have it downloaded, yeah.
It is under 8 hours. The only thing that's going to stop them is there's a lot of reading involved, but it is...
Oh, yeah, I got about an hour into it, and then, yeah. I realized what it is, and then I realized this isn't a 10 p.m., 2 gens deep kind of game.
Yeah, I was definitely a Saturday morning, how much of this could I beat this in a whole Saturday if I dedicate to it? And I think you could. But it's really impressive. The central loop in the gameplay mechanic is one of those things that makes me kick myself for not having thought of it. It's dead simple, but it really evokes the feeling that they're going for of being desperate, of barely scraping by, kind of the vibe that they're going for is living paycheck to paycheck while also having a body that you can't depend on. It's kind of a disability narrative with also a very cool sci-fi environment. The writing is excellent. The audio is excellent. 8 hours, short, sweet, to the point. Cannot recommend it enough. That leaves my addiction. My out of left field dark horse, never in a million years, Marvel Snap. Both of these guys have refused to fall down this particular well with me. I think they both tried, but
I tried.
Didn't quite get the hooks in the same way. Marvel Snap is a really quick card game on mobile. All MCU like Marvel comic book universe characters. It's so addicting. The gameplay itself lasts 3 minutes a round, or 3 minutes a game. So you just it becomes Pringles. You
Eat the whole can.
you do a couple and then suddenly the whole tube's gone. And nothing is as satisfying as playing Storm on one turn and then Juggernaut following up and just kicking everybody off of that lane and winning it, or locking something down with Professor X. Just you'll unlock cards as a very slow drip, and you'll at first get a card that is like, why would anyone use this? Professor X was the one that I wanted to get it to work because I like the character, but I couldn't figure it out. I was like, this is dumb, because he just locks down a lane, but he comes in so late in the game that it's really hard to win that particular lane at that time. But if you pair him with Daredevil, who tells you your opponent's turn 5 move, you can get just free points. And it's so clever. Their monetization scheme is a little have fun editing that, by the way.
I'm gonna isolate that sound, and it's gonna be the like if we need if we
That's
need to
a
put a
transition
bleep or
sound.
something.
Yes, there
Yeah.
we go. All right, because I definitely peaked. But it's a little gross, but not as manipulative as it could be. So that in 2023, that's a thumbs up for me.
Okay.
So I think all that being said, Elden Ring definitely does take the cake.
I feel like it's the one other than Scorn that we all played this
We've had
year
this before.
or consider coming out this year, because I don't think Inscription counts. I'm sorry, Tom.
That's fine. I mean, I played Elden Ring. I liked it, but the thing crashed on me every half hour, and that's really what kept me from getting into it.
But here's the thing: the other choice for things that we all played, at least some of, is Scorn.
I will rebel just as a result of that.
So I think that just like by elimination makes it Elden Ring.
I think
How do we decide game of the year? Is it based on our choice, or is it based on impact of this year? Because I think there were a handful of games that we probably even missed that may have had an impact.
I mean, it's games that we played that I think that we cumulatively think it's game of the year.
Okay.
Listeners, keep in mind we're not cool enough to get like the release codes and stuff like that to play things. So
I don't know. Yeah, but don't say that as if we don't that the Quoties doesn't hold prestige, because we're going to be mailing these studios a bowling trophy with the Quoty on the bottom.
It does. It's just we just don't have the resources to play every game.
Correct.
I don't know how. So I listen to some of these gaming podcasts where all the people are gaming journalists, like real ones, and don't pretend to be like we do. And I don't know how these people have time to play all these games. Like, I'm single and I have
8
no
hours
kids.
a day that they're paid to do it.
That is
for
what I'm
one.
wondering. I do get curious if people in the journalism industry play the games during, from 9 to 5, because that would make more
has to be
sense.
part of it. Else, when do you sleep?
Right? Yeah.
I'm
I'm fine calling it Elden Ring. I'm a little butthurt about it because I couldn't get the damn thing to work. I am going to get through it eventually, but I think
I'm
for
hoping
the
that
purposes
the
of this,
patches smooth
why
it
you
out
guys
enough
just-
for your machine. I don't know.
I mean, I play PC, but I'm definitely a console main, and we're waiting. There's still room at this table. We have cookies.
No, we're waiting for a PS5 to be available.
And
They're not.
get good. In the spirit of Elden Ring, get good.
Yeah, get good
Yeah.
at shopping.
okay.
Yeah, so Elden Ring ?
So we're calling Elden Ring. Elden Ring is getting the 2022 Boxy Award.
Quoty.
Quoty.
Don't mess it up.
Oh, I put
I
Boxy
think
in there,
it's-
and then I'm a Quoty.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations from
Elden
Soft.
Ring.
Checks
Good
in the
job,
mail.
Miyazaki.
Soft.
And I want to nominate this award to
You wanna nominate it?
Reformed
No,
Unorthodox
no.
Rabbi Bill Clinton.
God.
Gosh. I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, me too, until just now.
Thanks everybody for listening to the second installment of the Box Quote podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to boxquotepod@gmail.com. No spaces or anything. And if you want to follow us on any social media, all that is at boxquotepod.
It all should be there, but you could also find pretty much anything you're looking for at linktr.ee /boxquotepod.
And we'll get that in the description too. Thanks to Jeff for doing our artwork for everything we've ever done. It's great. We love it. We've got some banners and stuff that are going to be coming out soon for the social. If they're not
I'm
already
excited
there.
about them.
I
I
think
think
banner turned out
They're really
well.
cool. They're really cool.
Yeah.
So if you want him to do artwork for you, you can get a hold of him at jeffenton303@gmail.com.
I'm going to swoop in here and thank Tom for doing the music for the opening and closing because I'm not going to make it awkward for him and make him thank himself. So, thank you, Tom, for doing that.
Thanks, me. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.